Assalamu alaikum. How are you? I'm sure you'll be fine. Today we are going to discuss a new topic. Ideally, we want our businesses to run very smoothly. We want that there is no problem. We want there is no complaint about anyone against anyone. We want that there is no problem within the company, with the subordinates, with superiors, among the peers, and there is no problem with the organization that we work with. But you will agree that this is simply a very idealistic approach. What happened is that at times we face problems. We have complaints, and this situation asks us to do something. Similarly, when we are dealing with organizations outside our own organization, especially when we are doing some business with them, at certain occasions we have complaint against them, and they also have some complaint against us. But as you have seen that business communication approaches everything from a different angle. We are trying to create a new set of habits among us. So, you'll see that here too, we won't use the word complain whenever there is some problem with some organization or with some other co-worker or some subordinates or so and so. Because mistakes are bound to take place, they are never intentional. What is most important is that how we can minimize the effect of the mistake, how these mistakes can be rectified. So, in the last topic we discussed how to place an order, placing an order. And suppose that you have placed an order and the merchandise received are not according to the specification that you gave. The services that you asked for are not up to your satisfaction. You are not correctly sent the invoice. There is some problem in the bill. So, there can be countless occasions and countless things, countless aspects in which you might feel that things have not taken place the way you wanted them to take place. So you have a complaint. You are waiting impatiently for some needed supplies to reach, and you had placed an order and the time of delivery was very precisely, accurately mentioned in your order, and you might have received some acknowledgement that you will be receiving those supplies on the time given, but there is some delay. Or even if they read, there is some problem, they are not according to the specification that you wanted them to be. So, in such situation, you are getting angry. And normally, being human being, when we are angry, when we are dissatisfied, we are emotional. We can't be balanced. And we tend to be threatening, we tend to be irritating, and we tend to pass on this frame of mind of ours to others. We want to complain against their not being able to come up to our expectation with some strong words, right? So, in business, You cannot do this. I mean, I don't say that you cannot mean that you don't have the ability to do. Can here means ability to do. You can. But in the atmosphere that we want to be in a business concern, in a business organization, in the business world, is demand us to be a different person, to approach in this situation from a different angle. So, the very first thing when you have some problem is to be cool and calm. Just sit down, have a glass of water, and then think, what is the problem? As I just said that mistakes do occur and they are never intentional. So it might be you. Just be in the shoes of your recipient, and you are writing a letter in a very angry frame of mind, and in this you may be threatening, you may be accusing, or you may be using some very annoying word or irritating words, and think that being the reader of the same letter, what will be your feeling? Because you never intended to make that mistake. It was just something that happened. So there can be countless occasions in which you may find that you have some complaint against somebody and you must write. The very first thing to know is that in business communication, we don't like even to use this very word complaint. Instead of, whenever you have any situation like this that I refer to, you use claim. So, instead of writing complaint letter, you write claim letters. So, claim letters are written, as I just said, in different situations. And what are these situations? I just cited a few occasions for you in which there can be a problem for you. For example, let's look at a few occasions on which you might have felt some problem against some other party. For example, you might have received an incorrect bill or an invoice or a statement. I mean, you were overcharged. Similarly, you might have received a bill for merchandise ordered but never received. It happens in this very word. In this word of this information technology, it does happen that you place an order for some goods and you receive the bill for it, but you never receive the merchandise. It happens. Similarly, a delivery of unordered merchandise. Maybe you receive the delivery, some consignment, and you never placed an order for it. There may be another situation. Delivery of incorrect merchandise. You place an order for a typical suit, let's say, for a certain branded suit. But the suit that you receive was of a different brand. I know that it's very annoying, but it happens. This is very word. So, you may have received a delivery for damaged or defective merchandise. It's not exactly the last, but this damaged or defective merchandise, the receiving of these merchandise happens a lot of time, especially when things are being ordered from some other city in which there is a lot of handling involved, or some other country there is some shipping agency or some air cargo is involved. So I've just mentioned few reasons in which you might feel some complaint and you would like to make this complaint, you would like to write a complaint letter, right? So, whenever you are encountered with such a problem that you have been sent a bill, incorrect bill, that is incorrect, you have been sent some merchandise which are damaged, you have been sent some goods which you never ordered, or you've been sent some merchandise which are not the same that you ordered. So in all these situations, you must write to the seller, to the service provider, and the person with whom you have some problem or complaint. Similarly, there can be another occasion, and it is that there is some problem within your own organization. You are expecting some report from a certain department of yours. That's your peer department, but you haven't received the report. You are expecting some report from your subordinates. So there can be a lot of situations, as I'm again and again telling you, in which you might feel some complaint against somebody, in which you might feel that you need to write, you need to rectify that problem, that situation. So the very first thing, as I said, is to just cool off. Just come into a state of mind in which you are reasonable. If you are mentally not cool off, if you are feeling irritation, you are going to pass it on. For example, you may write like this. If you have received some incorrect merchandise, you may write, starting your letter, can't your people read and write? Are they illiterate? So just imagine that if you receive such a letter in which the letter begins with these words, what are you going to feel? What will be your feelings? Obviously, you will be very sorry for the person writing such a letter. Though you are at mistake, you are at fault. It was you who created that problem, but even then you wouldn't like to read or listen to these words. So, the writer of a complaint letter must be very cool-minded when he is going to write a complaint letter. And then he needs to describe the situation. This is very important, that he should describe the situation in such a way that the reader is able to understand. First of all, you need to tell that what's the problem. Have you received the damaged merchandise? Have you received the incorrect merchandise? Have you received some invoice or some bill overcharged? Or whatever. So, first of all, think that what is the problem? So, underline the problem. Rather, take it down on a piece of paper that what's the problem. So, you need to tell. This is your right to tell that what is the problem. But explain it in a very reasonable manner. So, first of all, you must know that what is the problem. And then think, what do you want? You want the merchandise to be replaced, to be refunded, or you want them to send back, you want the invoice to be corrected, whatever, just whatever. So just write down this, that what do you expect the reader to do, or what action do you expect the reader to take, and then give any reference to relate your problem with some facts so that the reader could understand. For example, send him some receipt that you received, but not the original one, just the copy of it. Tell the number of the invoice. Tell anything that is important to tell him, with which the reader is able to recognize your problem, your letter, whatever. So, this is very important. And do tell the reader that what action do you expect the reader to take. So, with all these things, you have to write the letter. But let's read the organizational plan before writing a letter. Now, you just tell me, which plan are we going to adopt or use for writing these claim letter, right? Not complaint letter. Which plan? Indirect plan. isn't it? No, not at all. It got to be a direct plan. Yeah, because you have some main idea. If you think that the cause of the problem is the reader, the seller, then it means that the seller must be expecting this. It is he to rectify it. So, which plan are you going to use? Direct plan with main idea, with explanation and with a close. But there are certain points that we are going to discuss. So, direct statement of the request in the beginning. How? Write a claim letter as soon as possible after the problem has been identified. Very important point for writing a complaint letter. Don't delay. Because if you delay, if you put it off till tomorrow, till next week, there is going to be some problem. The other person may feel otherwise. So, this letter, this type of letter must be written very quickly. You need not waste any time that you will start writing it tomorrow. So, write a claim letter as soon as possible after the problem is identified. State the need for replacement, refund or correction of the problem. The second most important thing is you need to tell the need. What do you want? As I said, what do you want? Replacement? You want refund? You want any correction in the invoice? What? Just explain. Explain that please refund it. Please replace the suit that you send me on that date. Mention the date. Give the receipt number, etc. As I said, and as we will just see in further details. Maintain a confident, factual, fair, unemotional tone. That's very important. You must narrate the thing with a factual, unemotional tone. And it is very confident. You know that there is a problem, and with confidence you need to convey this problem to the reader, because reader should know that there is actually a problem. So, unless you are very confident to convey this problem to the reader, he may think otherwise. So, you need to follow these things. First of all, what you need to do, you got to write the letter as early as possible, the moment you have come across with the problem. Number two, what do you want? Which action do you want the reader to take? Whether it's a refund, it's a replacement, or it's a correction. And number three, the tone must be very polite. You need to use a polite. Always thinking of the 7 C's. And here, which principle needs more attention of yours than other? Obviously courtesy, obviously you attitude. Though it needs clarity, completeness, correctness, everything else. But most of all, you have to put consideration and courtesy on the forefront. So, your request in the beginning and then explaining it. Then it's time to explain. Justification, explanation and details. So, your second part of the letter is justification. What you need to do is to justify your claim. That's very important. You don't have to be threatening. You don't have to use any irritating tone. You have to be very justified. Justified your claim very confidently. So, to gain the reader's understanding, praise some aspect of the goods or service, or at least explain why the product was originally purchased. So, it's important. Reader should feel that there is no problem with the product or the brand. There is problem with some individual commodity or individual item, not with the product itself. So, present facts honestly, clearly and politely. In business communication, this honesty is very important. We want to express ourselves very honestly, and we want others to express their self very honestly. Why do we want honesty? Because we expect honesty from others. So, when we expect honesty from others also expect the same emotion from us. So, be very precise in writing your communication, whatever type of communication, very honestly. Though sometimes you have to hide facts, but you have to explain their reasons for this in such a way that the other person feel that whatever you are doing it with a sense of justice and fair play. Eliminate threats, sarcasm, exaggeration and hostility. Obviously, sometime you have suffered some problem and you want to pay back. So, don't be exaggerating. Be honest, tell the problem, but do not exaggerate. Similarly, specify the problem. That's very important. What's the problem? You need to pinpoint in a very accurate manner what's the problem. So, tell the reader what's the problem. Product failed to live up to the advertised standard. I mean, you read some advertisement and product received is not up to the mark. So, this is what you need to tell the reader. So, specify. This is something that you can specify, that it has not up to the mark. There can be product failed to live up the sales representative's claim. I mean, you place an order as a result of a visit of the sales representative of the firm. So, what it is? Tell, explain that it has not come up to the expectation of the sales representative's claim. Then there can be problem. Product fell short of company's policy. Product was defective. Customer service was not up to the mark. So there can be these type of instances which can brought about that problem. So you need to specify the problem by telling, by writing, by mentioning into your letter that this much of problem and this type of problem. So in giving justification, explanation for your claim, you need to take care of things, you need to be honest, you need not exaggerate, you need not show any hostility for the reader, and you need to specify your problem by telling all these things, by telling that the product is not up to the satisfaction or what it is, right? So after that, make no accusation against any person or company unless you can back it up with facts. So again, this is some good piece of advice for you to follow. Don't give any accusation, don't make accusation against anybody. What it is that unless you can put it up with some facts, mean that you explain the problem and explain it with some facts, with some testimony that you have. But again, accusation, it doesn't mean that you start accusing the person. Similarly, use a non-argumentative tone to show your confidence in the reader's fairness. This is very important. Unless you expect that your reader is going to act enough with his sense of fairness, you cannot receive your adjustment that you are going to make through this claim letter. So very important thing is that you must believe that the reader has the same amount of fairness, he is honest, and he is also willing to do business with you. And the mistake that has happened just because of any problem, because his intention was not there, it was quite unintentional. So this is what the middle of your letter should have. Then we have, if necessary, refer to documentation, invoice, cancelled check, confirmation letter, etc. I mean, to strengthen your claim, you need to write these, you need to mention these facts into your letter. You need to attach these things with your letter. But it's very important, whatever you attach, it must be in copies. Because you may have to go into some problem later on. Sometime we do have to take things to court of law. So we should have the real proof to show that we are fair and it was our right to make such a complaint and to have such an adjustment. So ask the reader to propose fair adjustment. If appropriate, clearly state what you expect as a fair statement. As I said, you must tell the reader what you want. What action do you want the reader to take? This is very important. You wanted defecting things to be repaired, you wanted defective things to be replaced, or you wanted defective things to be sent here, it's a refund. So whatever you want, you must tell. Do not return the defective merchandise until you have been asked to do so. avoid uncertainty or vagueness that might permit the adjuster to prolong the issue by additional correspondence or to propose a less than fair settlement. This is again very important, that whatever you say, whatever you write should be in a very concrete manner. There shouldn't be any chance of ambiguity or vagueness. Say it very definitely, vividly, in a very concrete terms, so that the reader knows very well that what you want. So after this, what else you need to do is close your letter. How? Courteous close with request for specific action. So the third part of your letter must have the action desired, what you want the reader to take. So summarize desired action briefly, what you want. Simplify compliance with your request by including your name, address, phone number, hours of availability, whatever. Note how complying with your request will benefit the reader, and consider another example that how the writer conveys his message of inconvenience in calm manner. So you are going to see a letter in which you will see that how a writer has shown the inconvenience that he has suffered because of some mistake of the reader. So let's look at a claim letter, that how a claim letter is written. As I just said you that writing claim letter, you need to think of all these things. You need to follow all these guidelines. You have to be very honest. You have to be very straightforward. You have to be very fair-minded. You do not have to be exaggerating. You do not have to be hostile. You have to specify your problem, and you have to tell the reader what you want him or her to take the action. So let's look at a letter. It's a claim letter, and you will see that how this letter has all the qualities of a claim letter. Dear sirs, on March 1st, we ordered and subsequently received one case of hand saws, model 99B. We paid for the order with our check number 1234. A photocopy of which is enclosed. When we decided to order these saws instead of model 91, it was at the urging of your sales representative, Mr. Ali Naim. He assured us that the new saws were more durable and efficient than the older model. However, we have now had the saw on our selling floor for 3 weeks, and already 6 have been returned with broken teeth by extremely dissatisfied customer. We are therefore returning the entire order of 99B saws and would like to be refunded for their full purchase price plus shipping expenses. Yours truly. So if you look at this letter has all the good qualities of a claim letter. This letter explains in a very clear and very simple, very vivid terms, very definite terms, that what is the problem, and then the problem is linked, is related with all the previous record, and the writer has specified the action that the writer wants the reader to take. So writing claim letter, you have to take care of all those points. Let's have a look at another letter. Gentlemen, please repair or replace my calculator watch model C863 and send it to me at the address above. After 6 months of use, the musical alarm has quit working. Encloses my watch a copy of the sales receipt showing the date of purchase and your warranty, which guarantees material and workmanship for 1 year. Yours sincerely. You look at this letter, this is a very short letter, but it fulfills its purpose. There was a problem with the watch of the writer, and writer wants the reader to repair it under the guarantee period. So you see that how precisely, clearly the explanation is made, the specific action is made, how the ending is made with the courteous close with motivation to action, and what action the writer wants the reader to take. So in this very short letter, all the qualities of a claim letter are founded in it. The whole plan is there. So this is how you have to prepare letter when you yourself are writing letter, keeping all these things. These guidelines or these organizational plans are very important to follow. I tell you that most of the time people fail to write accurate business messages just because they do not follow these guidelines. If you keep these guidelines before you, whenever you have to write, just have a look at the guideline, and you'll feel that your communication has improved immensely. I tell you. If you follow all the steps that we been discussing, the planning steps, the principles, and then which letter? Order letter. Okay, what's the basic guideline for the order letter? This is the guideline for order. I've seen that people in the beginning, and almost every good communicator, every good message writer does have some books of good communication with him or her. Even a dictionary is on the side table. These are very important things for a writer. So whenever you are in a problem regarding any words, just look up the word in the dictionary. Whenever there is problem with any letter, just go through the types of letter relating to that topic, and you will learn a lot. So, as I have been saying right from the beginning, that to be a very good communicator, what you need to do is you need to follow some good example of messages and some bad examples of messages, and both will make you a very good communicator, very good letter writer, report writer, memos writer, very good communicator. So let's look at another claim letter, and this was a letter that was written within an organization. Sometime, as I said you earlier, that we also have to write claim letters within our own organization. We may have some complaint about, and now it is claim about some person over some matter, and we do need to pass it on to the person concerned. So let's look at it. It's written from some senior of a department to other department. Mr. Hassan, we missed your input at last week's status meeting. I reported on development from your division, but the information may not have been completely accurate. Representation at the meeting by all areas is the best way I know to ensure a forum for timely discussion of information and alteration in the project plans. Alteration that may affect more than one area. Please be sure to have a representative from your division attend the July 8th meeting at 2 p.m. in room 10. So you can see that how this letter identifies the problem, and then in the middle justify, and the end has a courteous close but with a specific action. So even in-house claim letter uses the same structure of a claim letter. Let's read another letter. This letter is written on a memo format, so it doesn't have any salutation. It has come to my attention that customers have been told that we cannot take their service application over the phone. Please correct this misunderstanding. We should most willingly take the application information over the phone, and then of course ask them to complete or verify the written information when they come in or for the first consultation. This make it easy policy should be good news to our customers and should also increase our clerks' sales record. In other words, they can sign up the live ones before they change their minds or simply neglect to come in personally by our weekly deadlines. I appreciate your help in clarifying this policy to all involved. So this again letter, a claim letter, written within an organization and serves the same purpose. So, we've been discussing that claim letter have to be written by businessmen, and they are written whenever there is some problem and the person wants to have that problem settled. Maybe in case of some product or merchandise received incorrect, received damaged, some bill received incorrect, some invoice received incorrect, some services not up to the mark, not up to the satisfaction. There can be a lot of reasons, lot of occasion on which you may feel that you need to write, but you do write. There is no problem with it. The only thing you need to know is you have to write your message in a very pleasant frame of mind. You have to cool off yourself. You have to be very reasonable, very honest, very candid. You don't have to accuse somebody, to threaten somebody, or you don't have to exaggerate your problem, your inconvenience. These things are very important, essential for a person who is going to write complaint letter or claim letter. Why do we write claim letters? We have discussed a lot. We want our problem to be solved. We want that if the merchandise have been received incorrect, they must be sent to us correct, or they must be refunded to us or replaced to us. So the response of the person answering our messages is to granting us the adjustment. So we can say an adjustment letter is the reply to a complaint called a claim letter. The reply of a claim letter is the adjustment letter. Adjustment letter is written by the seller, by the distributor, or by the service provider, or in some case, as we have just seen, to whom a certain claim was made. The very first thing that the adjustment writer thinks in his mind is not to question the integrity, the honesty of the claim letter writer. This is very important. Maybe you do disagree with it. You do not agree the claim of you, the way the writer has expressed his problem. You may disagree. Maybe it's not your fault. The fault is with the claim letter writer. But even then, in that case too, what you need to be, you need to do a positive attitude towards your reader. So, as adjustment letter writer, first of all, you have to believe in the honesty of the claim letter writer, and then you have to marshal the facts. You have to consider the letter, the request made by the claim letter very rationally, very sympathetically, and you have to locate the problem. Where does the problem lie? Whether the problem is with you as seller, as service provider, or the problem or the fault is with the reader, the writer of the claim letter. So, when we discuss adjustment letter, we say that there can be at least 3 situations which causes the writer to write a claim letter. Maybe it's your fault as seller. So we say that maybe the seller is at fault. Maybe the problem was with the writer of the claim letter. So we say that the fault lies with the buyer. Sometimes neither the seller nor the buyer is at fault, then who is at fault? Then we say that there is some third party at fault. What is this third party? I mean, it may be the railways who carried the goods, it may be any air cargo, it may be any courier service, it may be any trucking agency. So, any third party can be the cause of the problem. For example, the goods were booked intact and the seller has all the documents with him that prove that when the goods were, they were booked with railways or with any trucking agency, with courier, with any third party, they were in a very intact condition. So, the damage that occurred during the passage of time. The goods were being taken to the buyer. So, in this case, it is the third party which is basically responsible for this. So, we have to consider these three types of letter or messages. First of all, we see that when the seller is at fault, how do we write a letter? We are the seller. You see that when we have to discuss claim letter, it is we who have received some broken merchandise. So there can be a countless occasion and you have to write adjustment letter. Whenever you are writing adjustment letter, what you need to do, you have to explain or give the main idea or the good news in the beginning. Tell the reader that his claim is being adjusted. So, start your messages with good news in the beginning. Then, it's important that you tell the reader that how the problem occurred. There is no harm in giving an explanation for it. And also tell the reader that what measures you have taken that there won't be such situation in the future. And end your letter with, again, a friendly close. Sometimes, some people may like to make a claim like this in their letter of adjustment that there won't be any situation in future. That is, there won't be any mistake in future. Never make such claims. Because to err is human. We all make mistakes. Mistakes are never intentional. So, when they are never intentional, so if we have made a mistake once, it can be twice. Do show the reader that you have taken some certain steps to eliminate the problem, to minimize such problems. But never make any claim like this that there won't be any mistake in future, right? So, follow this plan when you are writing adjustment letter. Initial statement of the good news or main idea. State immediately your willingness to honor the reader's claim. Start with the main idea, with the good news. Accept your reader's account as entirely accurate unless good business reasons demand a different interpretation of some points. Number one, this state that give the good news in the beginning. Accept your mistake very candidly, very frankly. And when you start your letter with the good news, it means that you are accepting your mistake. For example, you tell the reader that the watch that he sent for replacement have been sent to him and he will be receiving it through some courier or some other services. So, you start your messages with good news. So, it will tell that you have accepted the reader's point of view. Then, adopt a tone of consideration and courtesy. Avoid being defensive. As I told you that since mistakes do occur, you need not be defensive. You have granted the adjustment. So, what else the reader wants? You need not be defensive. There was mistake and you have tried to cover it up. You have tried to adjust it. And now there is no point for you to be defensive. Be confident, use a courteous tone, a consideration, a you attitude into your messages, and that's enough. Thank the reader for taking the time to write. This actually establishes a sort of goodwill. The reader feels that you are fair and you have appreciated him or his writing to you. So these points are very important to be included in the beginning of the letter. So normally the beginning of the letter has main idea, that is the good news in the beginning, and with all these things. Then we come to the middle part of the letter, and this middle part of the letter we have information section. In this information section, what we do is just we minimize, if possible, omit any disagreement with our reader. So remember that here you have to minimize or omit disagreement with your readers or your reader's interpretation of the event. Obviously there is a mistake, but the way the reader has interpreted it is a different interpretation from yours. So do not argue back, simply accept. Maintain a supportive tone through such phrases as thank you, as may we ask, as please let us know, and we are glad to work with you. So they establish a goodwill with the reader. So apologize only under extreme circumstances, then do so crisply and without any overly apologetic tone. There are some occasions when we have to say sorry. Maybe in case of services in which there can't be any replacement after the time is over. So here we may need to use this point of the explanation part of the letter, and we may have to say, but be very careful. Your tone should have a confidence in it. So admit your firm's fault carefully. Avoid blaming any particular person or office. I mean, you say that a certain department of your company is responsible for this. I mean, it is simply shifting the blame, whereas this is not possible. That department is a part of your organization, so it's not good that you shift your blame to any other person or any other department. Avoid employing journal companies' inefficiency. Avoid making unrealistic promises about the future. Remind the reader of your firm's quality control. So whenever you are in the middle and whenever you have to say sorry, you have to take care of all these things. You do not have to blame some party, some department or some other person of your firm. As I just said, that you must give an explanation that how the problem occurred, but without blaming it. Do not blame the computer, because computer does not do anything itself. It's the person, it's some employee of your company who has operated that computer. So do not blame the computer and do not blame any department or any person. So taking care of all these things, you write the middle part of the adjustment letter, and then you come to the end part of the adjustment letter. So here what you do is you clarify any necessary action that your reader must take. I mean, for example, here you want that your reader should operate the gadget that you are replacing in a certain manner. Read its manual. So do tell it in this part of the letter. Remind the reader of how you have honored the claim. Avoid negative information. Encourage the customer to look favorably on your company or the product in question. Resale information. Encourage the customer to continue buying other goods from you. Sales promotional material, but avoid seeming greedy. So this is how you are going to write an adjustment letter, taking care of all these points. So let's look at an adjustment letter. Dear Mr. Ali, your new lawn umbrella is being shipped prepaid today. It should arrive in a few days. So here you have the good news in the beginning. This letter of adjustment is started with the good news. You know that the fault is with you, so it's time to give the good news to the reader. So you begin with it. Thank you for returning the torn one, because a mandate umbrella might not be water resistant. We are sending you a new one so that you can keep your new lawn table protected. You will notice that the new umbrella is made of vinyl coated nylon, which has proved superior to the polyester and cotton one you bought last year. When you need lawn furniture and accessories, you will find everything from small tables to foundation in our latest catalog. So here a resale promotional material. You can rely on our guarantee of high quality and satisfaction, or your money back, yours sincerely. So this is a very good example of writing an adjustment letter. This adjustment letter explains the reader that how the manufacturer or the seller has taken care of the problem of the reader or the person writing the claim. So today we have discussed very important letters. One letter is claim letter, which is basically a complaint letter when you have complaint against somebody. So to make it a positive letter, we have named it claim letter. So how to write a claim letter, in what situation you can write claim letter. So we have just seen, we have discussed the organizational plan, and as you see it was a direct organizational plan. So we went through the different aspect of this organizational plan, some examples of claim letter, and then we started adjustment letter. Adjustment letter are the letter which are written in response to claim letter. So the very first thing about writing the adjustment letter is not to call the question of integrity of the writer of the claim of a claim letter. So look at the thing very positively. If it is your mistake, if you must accept it, and if it is not your mistake, you must tell it very confidently. So today we have also gone through different aspects of adjustment letter, that how an adjustment letter is written, how we should start an adjustment letter, what we must write in the explanation, part of the letter, and how we must end a letter like adjustment letter with a close, friendly or positive close. So I hope that you must have learned today about these letters. Obviously this topic of adjustment letter is not yet complete. As I discussed, there can be three types of situation: when the seller is at fault, when the buyer is at fault, and when the fault lies with some third party. There can be another situation, for example, sometimes the buyer is at fault, but the seller thinks that it's a better chance to establish goodwill with the buyer, and the amount involved is not too much. So in that case, the seller does grant the adjustment. We'll be discussing it next time. So today with this we finish our discussion, and see you in the next lecture. Thank you very much. Khuda Hafiz.